we're covering for everything this year. And so that's pouring into ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's time to get uncomfortable. We can't control the circumstance around us, but we sure can control how we respond to those circumstances. And that's by letting the emotions go. And you also have to remind yourself of your goals and always believe that there's always greater out there. It may not look how you want it to look, but if I let this go, something better is coming. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you for checking this video out. If you don't know me, my name is Brooke LeBlanc and I go by Brooke the Architect. But thank you for checking this video out, and listen, we're going to get straight into it. Today we're talking about leveling up, and not just any type of leveling up. We're going to talk about letting go and how to let go so that we have the space and mental capacity and emotional capacity to level up, because it's 2024 and it's time to grow and to elevate. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's do a quick recap because I have to explain what letting go is. And in my last video, I talked about what letting go is and why it's so important. And the reason why it's so important is because we need to create that mental, emotional, and physical space for us to level up. And so sometimes when we're holding on to things that's keeping us in an unhealthy space or that's harming us, it can keep us in a harmful space. It can drain us so that we don't have the energy to pour back into ourselves, and we start attaching to things that we shouldn't be attaching to, and therefore we're also pushing away the things that we desire because we are being a little desperate or holding on too tightly to the stuff that we want. Like I said, it's just draining us and we don't have the energy to move forward or do what we need to be doing. And so in this video, I'm talking about the tips and tricks that I do in order to help me conquer letting go and moving on and letting things flow and accepting what wants to be in my life and not forcing anything. Because in order for me to level up, I need to understand that. I need to let these things go and to move forward and accept everything that's flowing towards me. And also have faith and understand that the things that I want, the things that I manifest and pray for, is going to happen. But sometimes it's going to happen even better and greater than what I'm holding on to. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the different tips and tricks that I do. Point number 1. This is my secret weapon, and this is very cutthroat, but this is the best way to let go in order for me to level up. And it's basically out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it, I'm not thinking about it. If I'm not seeing it every day, I'm not forced to obsess over it every single day. And I'm speaking from experience, and I don't mind being vulnerable with you guys. There are certain seasons where I really have to let go and have that mindset of out of sight, out of mind. And for me, that's letting go of certain things visually. And so that's giving up Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and separating myself from certain people that I shouldn't be standing around, or certain things and spaces that's hurting me. And so, for example, ever since I turned 30, sometimes I have the pressure of relationships and marriage and having a certain type of lifestyle at this age when that might not be what God has for me at this moment. But I was feeling the pressure every single day because it was in my face every single day. And so I had to let it go. I had to get it out of my sight. And for me, that was either blocking these certain things on Instagram, or you can be as cutthroat as me and honestly back away from social media, giving up Instagram, giving up TikTok, or whatever it is, or just block it. Just block whatever it is. But get it out of, I had to get it out of my sight so that I can clear my vision and focus and see more clearly on the things that I need to do and work on. Because truth is, sometimes we need to protect ourselves by denying access, not just physically but also visually, creating that separation from whatever it is that we are holding on to. So I'll just encourage you to do that as well. Whatever it is, get it out of your sight. Move it out of your sight. Don't look at it every day, because believe it or not, you don't have to. You're in control of that. You don't have to look at something that's harming you or keeping you in a desperate state of mind, because we're not going to be desperate in 2024. We don't have to keep ourselves in that space, and so we have the power to take it out of our lives and out of our line of sight. This is a hard trick, but I am a strong believer in this because if it's out of sight, then it's out of mind. And each and every day, like at first it's going to be hard at first, but each and every day it gets a little bit better. And next thing you know, within a month, you're not thinking about this thing, you're not obsessing over it, you're slowly letting it go. But this is the first step that I do in order for me to let go, to create a healthier space for me to level up. Clear your vision and do whatever it is you have to do, and that's getting it out of your sight, out of your vision. So now that it's out of sight, it's time for step 2, and that's controlling our thoughts. And so a lot of people believe that it's actually our emotions that keeps us in a state of depression or sadness or anxiety. But believe it or not, it's actually our thoughts that keeps us in that space. So think about it. Sometimes when we're dealing with different seasons like heartbreak or desperation or anxiety, and this feeling comes over us, sometimes we get so caught up in that feeling that our thoughts is what's actually pouring into those emotions. And so, in order for us to let go, we have to allow the emotions to come, we have to acknowledge it and sit with it, but then we have to let it go. And it's actually our thoughts that keeps us in that space. So for example, like when I was going through a heartbreak, and every now and then, I'll think I'll be doing better, but every now and then I'll start feeling a season of sadness. I'll start getting sad, and then my thoughts will come in and start placing myself in a further depth into that emotion and start feeding to that emotion and start thinking of all these crazy scenarios like, oh, what if this happens, or what if that happens, and it starts making me extremely sad and just keeping me in that place. But if you flip that, and once I learned how to flip that, I was able to let the emotion come, I was able to sit with it, acknowledge it, and let the emotion leave. And I controlled my mind, and I was like, okay, I feel this emotion, but I'm going to let it go. And I'm not going to sit into this space. I'm going to allow myself to acknowledge it, and I'm going to let it go and allow myself to continue on about my day. And so I'm encouraging you to do that as well, because it's our thoughts that keeps us in that space. And the part of leveling up is controlling our mindset. And I always say this, where we place our mind, our feet will follow. And this is the exact same thing. If you're continuing to think about sad scenarios, think about worst case scenarios, thinking about harmful scenarios to keep us in this harmful space, well, guess what? That's where our feet is walking. That's where we're going to go. So I'm just saying intentionally let the feeling come. Embrace it. Don't push it away, but also don't hold on to it. Just let it come, understand it, acknowledge it, and let it go. Because emotions come and go, but our thoughts, we can control it. And so that leads me to say also that we can't control the circumstance around us, but we sure can control how we respond to those circumstances. And that's by letting the emotions go. And so once you do that, we now have a little bit more emotional and mental clarity to do the things that we need to be doing in 2024 and the years beyond. So control what you can, control your thoughts. The emotions come and go, but control your thoughts. And so that leads me to my next point, because guess what? Now that we're clearing our space, we're clearing our vision, and we're clearing our mental capacity and emotional capacity, now we have more time for manifesting in prayer. And that means, for me, and having faith, that means whatever it is that we're holding on to, we're replacing that with something greater, more divine, and something more powerful. And so mentally, I just talked about letting emotions come and go and not keeping ourselves mentally in that harmful space. Now I'm talking about mentally placing yourself in a higher space. For me, that's praying and having faith. And I truly, strongly believe, I even heard somebody say this, that sometimes our visions and the things that we think about are a glimpse from God sometimes. And it's telling us like the direction we should be going or what's out there. And whatever it is, whatever the case, sometimes we do need to pour into ourselves and believe that there's better out there. And so when you let something go, you replace it with something more high value, something more rewarding, and something more purposeful. And you start aiming towards that. You sit back with yourself and you start thinking, okay, this is for me. This is coming for me. Something greater, something that's choosing me, something that's filling me up. That's coming for me. And I believe it. I have faith in it. I'm going to pray about it. And I know that it's coming. And that's all a part of leveling up. Believing that we deserve greater and that we are greater than our current circumstance or than the things that's hurting us. You have to start speaking life into yourself. And so another trick with that is also doing affirmations, replacing those sad thoughts or those sad seasons, and mentally, verbally giving yourselves affirmations. I am great, I am worthy, I can do this. There is so much better out there for me. I will get this house that I want. I will get this amazing marriage that I want. I will get this car or this dream life that I want. Like, I will reach the goal that I want. You start speaking to yourself and you start pouring life into yourself. And you also have to remind yourself of your goals and always believe that there's always greater out there. It may not look how you want it to look, but if I let this go, something better is coming. And rather it is the thing that you're letting go, it might come back around. But we're not going to mentally think about that. Mentally, we're going to constantly walk in this space believing that it's already here, believing that we're in this divine space. We have the things that we want that's greater than what we can even imagine. These thoughts bring greater and better emotions into our lives, and it actually uplifts us. It gives us more of a kick, more energy, more passion to do the things that we need to do and to live this passionate life, to elevate this year. And so now this leads me to step 4, and this is the most fun step actually. And so now that we're letting go, we're clearing our vision, controlling our thoughts, and speaking highly of ourselves, guess what? We're now in this divine energy. We're now in this powerful state of mind where we're in control of our thoughts and our emotions and mental capacity. Now it's time to pour into ourselves. Now it's time to do the things that we need to do to elevate this year. And that's any and everything. We're coming for everything this year. And so that's pouring into ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's time to get uncomfortable. So instead of holding on to the things that's hurting us or causing us harm, and instead of trying to be in that space, you let it go and you start living your life. You start challenging yourself, doing things that makes you uncomfortable, doing things that excite you, doing things that you always wanted to do. You have to start living your life and living for you. And trust me, some of the things that you're holding on to, it can feel that, it sees it, and it's going to come back. It's going to reflect off of that. And it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that. But I'm just saying, we're not living for anything or anyone else. We're living for ourselves and our purpose. And that's how we level up. We let go of our emotions and we control our thoughts and we walk in that direction. And you now have energy to do those things. We're using those thoughts for a greater purpose, and that's pouring into ourselves and also the things around us. Because this also requires us to love the things that's around us and that's in our space. Because also a part of this is sitting back and thinking about the things that we do have right now, appreciating that, accepting it, and reflecting on those things, and pouring into it and loving it. Because a lot of times we do take it for granted and we don't see how blessed we are. We don't see the good in what we have because we're so busy holding on to what we don't have or what we don't want to lose. And so there's so much beauty standing right in front of you, but you can't see it because your vision is a little tainted. Get uncomfortable. Do something fun. Reach those fitness goals, the mental goals, whatever it is, your career goals, whatever it is. Start pouring into those things because now we're clearing our minds and creating the room and space for us to do that. And that's all a part of leveling up. And so those are my main points. And I just want to establish this takes a lot of practice and a lot of work. But I had to work on this and I'm still working on this. And there are a lot of highs and lows and ups and downs. But it's a decision to move forward and to keep pouring into ourselves and to realize that, you know, there's so much better out there. So yes, so I just want to establish or reinstate that this is how we're leveling up in 2024. We're letting go and we're no longer holding on to things that's hurting us. And there are a lot of other videos about leveling up, but I'm a strong believer that in order for us to have that space in the room to level up, more specifically, we have to let go. I believe in you, and I know you got this, and it's not easy, but listen, we have work to do. We have so much to do, a life to live, and just enjoy it. Take yourself on self dates, treat yourself, do something new, control your emotions, and have fun with it. But I believe in you, and you got this. And listen, this is our year. We're leveling up. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope it helps. And just know that you are loved, and I love you. I love you, and I